Mr. Tyagi, another question which keeps on coming, and that's for DLF and perhaps for all the real estate sector, is that you walk on the roads of Mumbai, you go to Gurgaon, you go to any major city, you can see unsold inventory, half-bay construction towers, half-bay construction houses. What will happen now to so much of unsold inventory for DLF and for the real estate sector? I mean, if there is more supply and less demand, are we looking at distressed sales?
So, honestly, we are looking at distressed sale in some of these segments for sure. But I think the more sort of ugly outcome is that in a significant number of those projects, those projects may never see the light of the day. And that's, I think, the shock that will happen at some time, because some of those projects will get rescued by the finance ministers, that 25,000 crore fund, by some other mechanisms, by some asset sale. But there will be some developers, who unfortunately may just not have the wherewithal, and those projects may be so significantly net worth negative that it will be very difficult for them to see the light of the day. And I think hence when we talk of inventory, and the inventory overhang, at least in NCR, we do believe that to some degree it is slightly overstated, because at least some part of that inventory, unfortunately, may not see the light of the day in the foreseeable future. I mean, you've seen the last couple of years how some of the developers, and I mean, not only some of the sort of extremely poor small developers, some of the relatively better developers, at least in the unlisted space, and how even those have begun sort of, coming under extreme degree of stress, NPAs and everything else. And the HFC, NBFC crisis obviously just sort of was the final, sort of push for many of them. So I think it will be some of that inventory will find it very difficult to bounce back anytime.
Fair point. Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask a very broad question, my final question, Mr. Tyagi, just for the benefit of our viewers. Mr. Tyagi, in India, Indians buy real estate or a house, first to live in and then for investment. Now, for those who need a house to live in, I guess it's a good time, any day is a good day to invest or buy a house. But for those who are looking at investing in real estate or the housing sector, when do you think the tide would turn?
Look, honestly, I don't know how to frankly answer that question. Clearly, for end users, you are absolutely correct. This is a great time to invest. I mean, I think if you look at only the investor demand, I think the investors will obviously need to crossweigh an investment in their second or third real estate or commercial property with whatever returns they are making on the other aspects of the economy, frankly. I mean, the debt markets aren't doing great. I mean, opinion is out on whether the equity markets are already overheated or not. So I think clearly, I mean, it's not for us to advise people how they should invest. But I think in many of these products, I think the entry point for a real estate investment is there now. What returns people make, obviously, is open to speculation, and I wouldn't want to join that speculation. But I think at an entry-level price point standpoint, I think this is a pretty good time for people who have been sort of sitting on the fence to enter real estate. There's a lot of ready inventory out there. There's a lot of fast construction inventory out there, and people are looking at their first house or their second house or the investment thing. I think it's a good time. But how those markets and those price points behave in the future is honestly today, I think we are still in the in a zone of uncertainty, and I think honestly it will be unfair of me to advise on how those speculations may eventually pan out.
But thank you very much, Mr. Tyagi. You've been very vocal, very candid. We've covered a range of topics of what government needs to do, where the sector is headed, how DLF is taking a turn, and what are the new permanent shifts which will happen in the real estate sector because of the COVID crisis. Stay safe, sir. Thank you very much, and hope to see much more of you going forward.
Thanks a lot, Nikunj. Thank you.